Tonight's guest is one of the most respected young actors of her generation. In a career spanning less than a decade, she has appeared in 25 films, from Paradise Road to Oscar and Lucinda, for which she received an Australian Film Institute Award, Elizabeth, for which she received Academy Award and Screen Actors Guild nominations and won the British Academy Award, the Golden Satellite Award, and the Golden Globe, as well as Best Actress Awards from the Broadcast Film Critics, the Chicago, London, Florida, Southeastern, and Toronto Film Critics, and the National Board of Review. An Ideal Husband, which earned her a Golden Satellite nomination, Pushing Tin, for which she received another Golden Satellite nomination. The Talented Mr. Ripley, which earned her a British Academy Award nomination. The Man Who Cried, for which she won the Florida Film Critics Award. The Gift. Bandits, which earned her Screen Actors Guild, Golden Globe, and American Film Institute nominations. The Lord of the Rings, for which she has received a Screen Actors Guild nomination and won the National Board of Review Supporting Actress Award. Charlotte Gray, for which she received a Golden Satellite nomination. The Shipping News, which earned her Florida Film Critics and National Board of Review Awards. Veronica Guerin, and The Missing. The Actors Studio is proud to welcome Cate Blanchett. Tonight, we begin an Australian odyssey. In the weeks to come, that chair will be occupied by sheer happenstance by Naomi Watts, Russell Crowe, and Hugh Jackman. Tell me, Cate, where is Jessie Mack?
Jessie Mack?
That's the hospital in which you were born.
Jessie McPherson, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's gone.
And where is it? In what city?
It's in Melbourne.
What was the name on your birth certificate?
Catherine. But no one calls me Catherine. I've never been called Catherine. It's always been Kate.
Ever?
No, not really.
Blanchett sounds like a French name. Is it, in fact?
Well, my father was American, and he was from the South, so I suppose it's French in terms of that French influence that's in the South.
What was your mother? She was Australian, presumably.
Yeah, yeah.
Way back?
Way back, of convict descent, I think.
Convict descent?
I think, yeah.
That's the great thing about being Australian. You can say that.
Mm-hmm. With a smile.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of our Mayflower.
Yeah. It's part of who white Australians are, I suppose.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I've got an older brother and a younger sister who is a set designer.
What was life like for you as the middle child?
Fantastic.
Was it?
There was no middle child syndrome at all.
There wasn't?
Maybe there was. I was kind of left to my own devices, for better or worse.
Why were you?
I don't know. I've always been quite independent, I suppose.
I see.
And I was always tooly-birding around on my bike and really physically active, so I wasn't home very much.
You've described yourself during those years as being part extrovert, part wallflower.
I think there's a myth that actors are all extroverts, and I don't think that that's true. I think that there's something that happens in that 5 seconds before you walk on stage. I don't know what it is, where you enter a different zone, and that zone doesn't always translate into everyday life.
We've demolished that myth in this series, of course, because most of the people who sit in that chair are rather shy and private.
Yeah, and I think it's that thing of having to inhabit yourself, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it can often be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Many of our guests can remember the precise moment when the performance gene fired up for the first time. Can you remember the first time?
There was an actor called Frank Thring, and I remember my mother took me to a production of The Mikado, and he had this incredible long moustache. He was playing the Emperor, and it fell off. And I was like, must have been 5, and you could feel the whole audience go, oh my God, something real just happened. And the way he handled it, and he said, oh, you can never trust these Japanese or Chinese sort of imported something. He made some joke, I can't remember, it was a bit sophisticated for a 4-year-old. But I remember that moment of seeing the actor handling a real moment in a completely surreal and unreal production. And I thought, that's really powerful. Oh, I wish I could be up there with him.
So that
Suddenly,
was the spark.
I think so.
Did you convey your youthful ambitions to your family?
No, I don't think it necessarily translated to wanting to be up there. I was always putting on plays at school, writing, directing, which I think in primary school is really just bossing people around, which I was quite good at doing.
Did you study music in any form when you were a child?
I studied piano, and I studied trumpet for a term because I fell in love with a trumpet teacher at school. So, that was really bad.
How serious were you about the piano?
I was quite serious, actually. And my teacher was quite serious that I should be serious. But she said, look, you either decide to do this, you can do this if you want to, but I don't think you want to. It was kind of one of those strange turning points as a child. I must have been about 12 or 13, and she sat me down and said, you know, you're too good to do this halfway, so you either take this seriously or I can't teach you anymore. But I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing this. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew it wasn't piano.
I'm no longer surprised when this subject comes up. After 9 years and 153 guests, it's the commonest theme in this series. What happened to your family and to you when you were 10 years old? I believe there was a loss.
Yes, I lost my father. We lost yeah.
When Gene Hackman was here, he recalled in that chair with undiminished sadness the last sight of his father waving as he drove away forever. Can you remember the last time you saw her?
Isn't it odd? Yes, because the last image I have of my father is him. I was actually playing the piano. Don't worry, I'm not going to cry.
You're not obliged.
No. I was playing the piano, and he walked past the windows in the house that we used to live in, and I waved goodbye. And he was going off to work. And then he had a heart attack that day. He was very young. He was only 40. So, you know, it's incredibly young.
You said that after that, I thought I would have to kiss everybody goodbye before I left the house.
I felt very sad I hadn't actually embraced him that day. So I developed this whole ritual where I couldn't leave the house before I'd said, actually physically say goodbye to everyone.
What is Methodist Ladies College?
It's where I went to school.
Is it a college? Doesn't it begin very young?
Yeah, I went there for high school. So from about the age of, I guess, 11 to 16.
I see. And what was that curriculum like? I understand it's a very good school.
It's a fantastic school. It's a very progressive feminist school. To the point where, I mean, I was very heavily involved in drama and directing the school plays and blah, blah, blah.
You did go briefly to college, did you not?
University? Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I studied economics and fine arts because I thought I thought I'd move into the visual arts.
This at the University of Melbourne?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And what was your experience there?
What I love about what I do is the research part of it. And I'm not an academic. And I don't think my essays made any sense. They made sense to me, but they didn't make sense to my lecturers.
Yeah.
And then I did vaguely pass economics, and then I went overseas and came back and thought I'll take up architectural units and expand my fine arts.
I believe you went to the National Institute of Dramatic Art. It has an acronym. What's it called?
NIDA.
What's that like?
It's a 3-year course, and it hasn't really got one theory. You know, you do Samyat, you do Laban, you do Lecoq, and you do Mask, and all of that stuff. And then in the end of the first year, you only do one production. Then it becomes more production-based in the second and third years. And I was very lucky. I mean, I got the chance to play some extraordinary roles.
What roles did you play there? Do you remember?
I played Viola in Twelfth Night, and then I played Electra, and I played Rosalind.
When you did Electra. I understand that somebody there said to somebody else, an actor, you must come and see this young woman in Electra. And it began a friendship and a professional relationship for you with an amazing actor. Who was the actor who came to see you?
Jeffrey Rush.
He was sharing a house with a woman named Lindy?
Lindy Davies, yeah.
Then you did Kafka dances, did you? Professionally?
Yes, there was no one really knew what to do with me when I came out of drama school. I mean, as I'm sure all of you know, it's such a melting pot. It's such a greenhouse, the whole experience of being in drama school. And then you get unleashed, and often there's nowhere for that energy to go. And I found that really humbling, and it has really put me in good stead. It sort of has made my relationship to my work really healthy, I think, because I never expected to continue.
What is the Rosemount Award?
They have a theatre award in Sydney, and when I did Oleanna, it was a really electric experience, so I think I won that award after that.
And you were playing opposite Geoffrey Rush.
Yeah. Doesn't get any better than that.
No.
You know what I mean?
But you were still a kid. You were just out of school.
Yeah.
With few exceptions, Americans have very little experience with classical theater. English actors and apparently Australian actors do. We've learned that already. In 1995, you played 2 important Shakespearean roles. You were in The Tempest, were you not? Mm-hmm. Playing what?
Miranda.
And you were nominated for Best Female Performance for your portrayal of Ophelia in Hamlet.
That's right, yeah.
What was your feature film debut?
I think it was Paradise Road.
And what part do you play in Paradise Road?
I play a nurse called Susan. There are a lot of women in the film. It was quite an extraordinary experience. An amazing story, actually, about these women who were interred in Sumatra in the Second World War.
You've said, I burst into hysterical laughter of joy when I got Oscar and Lucinda. Who played Oscar in that with you?
Ralph Fiennes.
What unites Oscar and Lucinda in the movie? What is their passion, their mutual passion?
He's a minister who comes over with a terrible gambling problem to Australia, and Lucinda also has a terrible gambling problem. And, but they're also fantasists, and she's a glass manufacturer. And so they never sort of consummate their relationship, but they come up with an incredible idealistic project to build a cathedral in glass and then sail it down the river to give this outpost a church.
It led to something else, and that's where we are now. 6 years after graduating from drama school, Kate played the role that earned her an Academy Award nomination as Best Actress in a Leading Role. It was, of course, the tour de force title role in Elizabeth. You are now leaping up the ladder. How did that role come to you?
By chance. Shaker Kapoor, who directed the film, was in working title, and I think Tim and Eric had a promo of Oscar and Lucinda, and someone was looking it on the telecine machine, and Shaker was in talking about casting, and he saw, you know, he's a very poetic man, so I don't know whether this really happened, but what he told me was he saw my face emerge from the water, and he thought... And he said, that's Elizabeth.
Didn't he give you a 1920s book to
Which
read?
I have lost, and I'm so sad. It was the pages hadn't even been cut. It was strangely titled The Sayings of Elizabeth I. How they possibly know what she said, I don't know. But it had subject titles like politics, art, music, men, foreign policy. And so a lot of that ended up going verbatim, because I would go home every night and go through all the pages and say, this is a fantastic thing, how can we work this in?
How close is your Elizabeth to what the public thinks Elizabeth was?
I think what makes the film interesting is that it's not your standard, I suppose, BBC rendition of her life. It's much more particular to Shaker. I mean, it's 2 colonialists getting together to talk about an English icon.
Right.
And so the whole thing is a little bit an outsider's view, I suppose. But, I mean, the great thing about great, extraordinary men and women is their lives can be constantly reinterpreted.
Why do you follow me here?
It is my business to protect your majesty against all things.
I do not need protection. I need to be left alone.
Majesty.
They should never have been sent to Scotland. My father would not have made such a mistake. I have been proved unfit to rule. Well, that is what you all think. Is it not, Walsingham?
It is not for me to judge you.
Why did they send such children? Why did they not send proper reinforcements?
Because the bishops would not let them. They spoke against it in the pulpits.
Then they are speaking against their queen.
Madam, the bishops are against you and have no fear of you. They do not expect you to survive.
You have spoken of having a fluid attitude to a script and also to a character, because your greatest moment can end up on the cutting room floor, so you have to have a lot of greatest moments just to be on the safe side. True?
Yes, I think the more one works in film, the more you realize that you have to constantly be engaged and curious throughout the whole process of filmmaking, because when you're at home doing your homework, it may seem that scene 16B is the turning point, the most crucial point for your, for your character. But then when you actually see the film, you think, no, it was actually this moment,
Sure.
simply because of the juxtaposition of all those images.
What does your homework consist of?
Well, I always put everything out neatly on my desk, and I always end up on the floor. I don't think I've ever... It's very hard for me to sit in this chair at the moment. I always end up sprawling out on the floor.
You may if you wish.
No, I might later. For me, the great thing about it is you have an array of techniques which are basically problem solving. I'm not an actor who works in a way where I say, this is what I need to do, this is what I need you to give me, this is the circumstances I need in which to work. Because I think that every project, every group of actors dictates the way you work, and that's what I love about the nature of an ensemble, is that it's the way that that group of people find to work together.
In film, do you like many takes or few?
It depends. Say, for example, I'm working with Marty Scorsese at the moment, and he will do... It's like he's conducting a symphony. He'll see every moment and he'll say, we've got this line, we've got this line. Yes, I think, yes, it was interesting your interpretation on that line. This line, why don't you try that? And so when you go in for another take, it's incredibly specific as to what you're going to achieve. And through trying to get another specific moment, it may illuminate another moment, which may lead you to another take. And then by the end, you may have done 8 or 9, sometimes 17 takes. I think it's almost impossible for an actor to be objective about what they're doing.
Impossible.
I think so, completely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you're on stage, those nights where you think, I think we really hit it.
That's generally speaking the night you were not.
Well, exactly. Or people will say, this moment, when you were thinking and doing and saying and feeling this, and you think, what moment was that? That's not even in my vocabulary of the... Thank you, So, I mean, yeah, it's very... I think watching other actors' performances can often be more helpful.
Tell me how much of Cate Blanchett winds up in every character you play, including Elizabeth I?
Well, I must admit, I'm more interested in the character than I am in myself. And any connection that I have to the character, which hopefully is great, will be subliminal and subconscious. So I don't like to think, how can I make this character fit me? I think, what do I need to do to fit that? So I think it's like listening. I mean, that's sort of 110% of your job, really.
When Gwyneth Paltrow and Philip Seymour Hoffman were here, we talked about a fascinating movie called The Talented Mr. Ripley.
I love the script, and I'd never met a woman like Meredith Logue, who I played. And I think it's fascinating. For me, the roles I like to take are the ones that I don't have preconceptions about. I think if you can envisage a character, if you know what you do, I think you should let another actor do it, because I think that it's not going to have that same sort of electricity and adrenaline.
Is that a principal factor when you're choosing a project? Is that what...
Yeah, although having said that, I often feel like the process of filming and doing a play, the character feels very elusive, that you're always sort of chasing around, like having a baby, always chasing around, cleaning up after it, trying to understand why it's doing that. I find it hard often to synopsize a character. I think part of your preparation is to have as many strings in your hand, but just not to knot them all. You don't want to sort of tie everything up before you perform it.
You want to leave it open to
Yeah, to what happens in the moment, I think.
what happens in the moment.
Yeah.
What's the Minghella experience like?
He doesn't give a lot of direction, but when he does, it's really specific, and it's quite poetic, so it opens up a whole... it opens many doors, it doesn't just open one.
What do you want, ideally, from a director?
It's like any relationship. I think if you enter into any friendship, any physical relationship with expectation, I think it leads to disappointment. So you always want to find out how other people think. And so if they think, if their thinking and expectations are diametrically opposed to yours, it can often provoke really interesting responses. Because I find often when everyone's coming from the same perspective, it often makes the result quite monochromatic. So I don't necessarily expect to see eye to eye with the director. I'd like a little respect.
I've noticed something interesting tonight. You sometimes slip into a character who is emphatically American.
Oh, I know, it's terrible. It's
Why?
I grew up...
Why is it terrible?
I'm sorry,
it's not terrible.
It's really rude of me. No, I do apologise.
No, it's not.
No, it's because...
It's charming.
No, it's... I grew up watching MASH. And so, to me, the language of comedy is American.
Is that it?
So you can tell when I'm trying to make a joke, because I put it's tragic and rude. It's like if you were to say to me, Jesus, mate, I think, you know... I mean, what would I do?
I can't do Strine.
You did. When you said Aussie before, it was quite good. You probably need to expand your vocabulary, but, you know, it's a good start.
It never fails. There is always a surprise every time I prepare for one of these evenings. And this time, the surprise is a movie called The Gift. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about The Gift before because it was written by someone who was in that chair, by Billy Bob Thornton.
Ah.
Do you love him too?
I do.
We do.
Great.
This was based on Billy Bob's mother.
Yeah.
Who was a psychic of sorts. How did you acquire the Southern accent? That whole... There is an American persona.
Yeah, I find that whenever I acquire an accent, it has to be an organic part of the character, so you have to do a lot of technical homework and be quite specific, I think. And having never been to a psychic before, I was just never interested. I went to a lot, and there was one in particular who was extraordinary. And she said things that have actually come true, which is quite strange.
Do you believe that there is such a thing as psychic power?
I think there's probably some people who are more open to other energies. God, it's making it sound like I believe in all of this. I don't know. I mean, it was interesting for me to go and... Yeah. Okay.
The American almost emerged.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Twice on this stage with Billy Bob Thornton and with Bruce Willis, we've talked about a very funny movie called Bandits.
Yeah.
Here's another of your all-American portraits. What is the film's premise?
It's about these two guys, and they're on the run, and my character is from a shocking dysfunctional marriage who just decides one day to leave the house, and she ends up running one of them over, and they take her hostage. In fact, she sort of wants to be taken hostage. And then they form this sort of strange menage a trois.
It is, yeah. She falls in love with both of them.
Yeah.
Middle-earth and the Lord of the Rings.
Well, I've long been a fan of Peter Jackson's work. I've seen everything he's done, and I'd always wanted to work with him. And so when he asked me to play the Queen of the Elves, I said sure. And I'd read The Hobbit, but I had not read The Lord of the Rings. So it wasn't the connection to the books. I've subsequently read them, of course, but it was working with Peter that drew me to the project. He's such a genius, because not only was he making one of these masterpieces, he made 3 at the one time.
You said you had to act with what you described as small people with big hairy feet in animatronic masks.
It was surreal.
How did he direct you? Did he persuade you that those little folk were real? And
Absolutely, I believed it. I believed it all, because Peter invests in everything with utter conviction. I mean, I'd never done all of this sort of computer-generated green screen, animatronic, split-frame diopter thingies that were being done. And so there's a lot of post-production in terms of vocal work to do, because there were always fans whirring or water falling or, you know, something creaking. So, but still you forgot all that because Peter kind of shrouded the whole thing in this bubble of absolute elf reality. I mean, you know, he's the sort of person who can say, what do elves eat for breakfast? And he'll go, well, I think that what they... And it's a complete, you know, it's just like any other character. I suppose because he and Fran, his partner, have been living and breathing it for so long. And it's infectious. You are completely consumed by it as well.
You offer it to me freely. I do not deny that my heart has greatly desired this. In place of a daughter, Lord, you would have a queen. Not dark, but beautiful, terrible as the dawn. Treacherous as the sea. Stronger than the foundations of the earth. All shall love me and despair. I pass the test. I will diminish and go into the West and remain Galadriel.
Veronica Guerin. Some of our students were privileged to see it with me in the screening.
Oh, right.
You've become something of a specialist in dialects and accents. From Elizabethan English to a Scottish burr to Elvish to French to Italian to a variety of American accents, as we've heard tonight.
They all sound like Alan Alda.
Because of MASH.
Yeah.
And, of course, now to the Irish brogue. Our students at the Actors Studio Drama School have training in dialect. You've described it as learning an accent is like a child learning how to walk. Basic. No excuse for not getting it perfectly. Is it that easy for you?
You listen, 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 and then you have to move through mimicry into habitation, because unless it's a farce or, you know, it's something very particular where the accent is the entry point for the audience into the character, it's got to be an organic part of who the character is so that the audience doesn't think about the accent at all.
Why do they always use that brutal picture?
It's a very serious incident. Veronica Guerin is a very talented journalist. An attack like this could be seen as an attempt to muzzle her because of certain publications or articles she wrote.
This would be presumably connected with last month's £3 million robbery.
Yeah, we all know who pulled that one, don't we, Hutch? He threatened me, you know.
It's a true story. About whom?
It's about an Irish journalist called Veronica Guerin who was killed in 1996. She was an investigative journalist in Dublin, writing about the drug importation and the people who were making millions and millions of pounds for it.
Are you wearing a wire?
No, no!
Are you wearing a wire?
No, no!
Get off my property, you...
How much research did you do on the real person?
Well, I knew very little about her, and I think there's a particular challenge when you play someone who's lived and breathed so recently. Her voice, her face, her gestures, as well as her work, are really well known in Ireland. So I knew that I had to get as close to that as I possibly could. So I had all those primary sources there to draw on, which was very helpful.
Veronica,
Where's Cal?
what's wrong?
Where's Cal?
He's in the country. He's with your sister. He's safe.
I know.
A few days ago, I saw a nearly finished print of a really remarkable movie called The Missing. Once again, you headed in a brand new direction. What do you play in it?
A rancher who has had a very damaged past, who's come from a very broken family. Her father, played by Tommy Lee Jones, left the family when my character was very young to go native, to join the Indians. And then Tommy Lee's character returns to make peace with her, and everything goes missing, stolen by a band of whites and Indians who are selling girls across the border into slavery, go to find the missing girls.
How long was the shoot?
I think it was 3 months, but it sort of gets expanded because I had to learn to ride really well. The whole process of riding out with these guys, literally into the wilderness, I really got to get into the psyche. My blood slowed down, and it was, often it's through, you work from the inside out, but this time it was strange, I worked from the outside in. It was the physical necessities that I had to do that gave me the internal life of the character, which I found fascinating.
You also had to shoot a gun?
Yeah.
And you did a lot of physical stuff in it?
Yeah.
Were they done by stunt doubles, or did you do all yours?
No, I did it all.
One of the virtues of this film, for me, is the genuine acting demands that it makes on its cast. You, Tommy Lee, that's a real relationship.
Let me see. He's like a jogging buddy. He'll say, just come on, we'll just go 2 more blocks. And then you end up realising by the end of the day you've jogged 28 miles. He's so sure. And I knew he would be a wonderful human being. I just knew, you know that.
He was in that chair also, and what a lovely man.
Yeah, he's a great man. He's so positive, but really, really tough, and will always go again, even if you're losing the light, to get where you need to get.
Tell me something. Who is the aviator in The Aviator?
Howard Hughes.
And who plays Hughes?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whom do you play?
I am attempting to play Katharine Hepburn.
Why do you say attempting?
Well, because it's an impossible task.
No, it's not going to be impossible. We'll all see that.
And I think you wouldn't want to attempt something like that except for someone like Martin Scorsese.
Tell me how you prepare to play Katharine Hepburn.
Well, you panic. And then you panic.
That goes without saying.
And then Marty kept saying, you're playing a character who's called Katharine Hepburn. And he very generously said at the beginning of the shoot, you don't look anything like her. And I said, yes, I do. So you go as far down that road as you possibly can.
She had a most distinctive voice.
A very, very distinctive voice. So yes, I hope I do sound close to her, I hope.
The film, I believe, chronicles Hughes's affair with Hepburn.
Yes, I mean, it's about a lot of things. It's about his grip on reality, really.
Right. But there is an affair.
Yeah.
Which is to say with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Tell me about working with this young man as he grows up.
He's incredibly detailed and committed. I think he's fantastic.
You've described earlier working with Martin Scorsese. What did he give you in this film that you'll take away with you?
You have to make yourself believe it. Every second is important. The whole notion of pain being temporary but celluloid being forever is completely and utterly his ethos. And sometimes it can feel like a shrine. It's very quiet. And the level of respect surrounding him is just incredible. He's incredibly orally sensitive. But the level of concentration and commitment is just, I mean, those words have taken on new meaning for me.
We begin our classroom session with the questionnaire invented by Marcel Proust and brought to a fine art by my hero Bernard Pivot. What is your favorite word, Kate?
Today, the word circumnavigate is quite a beautiful word.
Okay. You like it for the sound?
Yeah, I like it for the sound, but for the meaning, probably the word fluidity I quite like.
What is your least favorite word?
Fundamentalism. Rigidity.
What turns you on?
I really love dance theatre. I love when language is dispensed and distilled down to a gesture. I love the moments of suspension in dance. I think it's an extraordinary, pure form. But you asked me tomorrow and I could say pizza, you know, it's like...
That's the whole idea. What turns you off?
Preconceptions, I think. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
Our son is learning to speak at the moment. And the way he says, okay.
What sound or noise do you hate?
You know, when you're in a hotel room, or I've had the misfortune to be in an apartment where there was a very abusive relationship next door, listening to other people's arguments is just horrendous.
Got it. That's one of the best answers.
But also fascinating. So, yeah.
Now the ever popular, what is your favorite curse word?
Is this recording?
Yeah.
Well, for sparse usage and very specific usage, and I think in America you can't even say this word, but C&T, I mean, there is nothing like it.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Oh, God. I would love to be an architect. I would love to be a painter. Don't have the talent.
What profession would you absolutely not like to attempt under any circumstance?
There was this documentary made, I don't know when, I saw it in England, called The Worst Professions or something. And they ended up with a job I didn't even know existed, which is a maggot farmer. Which was so horrendous. And you saw this guy in like this pit where they breed maggots, having to go in this white suit and clean out the maggot pit. And that's really bad. I'm sorry.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like to hear God say that I sort of hadn't committed too many acts of hubris.
The students are waiting for you, so I'm going to turn you over to them.
Okay. Where are you going?
Right there.
Hello, my name is Peter. I'm an actor. And it has become clear to me, anyhow, from listening to you tonight, that you've made your own choices for you. And I was wondering if there was an experience in your life or somewhere along the line where you said, no, I'm doing this for me and I'm not doing it for anyone else but me.
I had an acting teacher called Nick Enright, and he said in our third year, he went and asked us, all of us, why we wanted to be actors. And of course it was all about, I want to express, I want to feel, I want to show, I want to experience, and then one actress said, I want to affect an audience. And of course, he said, isn't it about reflecting what it means to be human? So I always think that an actor's job is partly anthropological. And so I don't necessarily know if I'm doing it for me, because it has to be a generous act. But certainly I'm not interested in... Because of where the filmic art form is, and there's such a precedent, like the golden age of Hollywood, whatever that is, that there's a career path that is what is called a successful career path. And I think it's very hard, I'm sure you find this and will find this, that when you're working, you're the next, you're compared to. It's very difficult to just be yourself and to form your own way. And so I'm just interested in doing my own thing. And it may work and it may not work, but it's my thing. And hopefully it will connect with with an audience, because that's why you do it. Does that answer your question? I don't know.
Hi, my name's Monica and I'm an actor. I had a question about your process in developing a physical life, or your approach to embodying a character.
Well, God, if I had my way over, I'd work with Pina Bausch. I mean, you know, that's probably what God will say to me. Why didn't you work with Pina Bausch, you idiot? I was driving here, and I get very obsessed by things, and I realised what I've become really obsessed with is background action. I'm really obsessed with how extras are orchestrated in the back of shots to make it look natural. I find the way people walk fascinating, and I love observing people's mannerisms, and you know, and I don't think one watches so-called reality television to get that stuff, because that's as far away from reality as you could possibly be. People acting out themselves and it's meant to be real? What is that? And everyone going up at the end of their sentences? I mean, but maybe that probably is more real than you. I think that what you do as an actor is you pocket away throughout the course of your day, your week, your month, your year, physical mannerisms or observances you make about people, and then hopefully they will resurface and you'll be able to put them into a character. But I find gesture very fascinating. And also when people, how that reflects it often completely reflects your inner psychology.
Hi, I'm Carla and I'm a playwright. You had mentioned a lot of techniques that you had studied at NIDA that I'm not familiar with. You had talked about when you had been working on a Shakespeare piece, and you said, am I meant to cube this when it's a Shakespearean piece? And I'm wondering if you can explain what that means.
Right. Well, this is a theory that I don't know a lot about because it didn't really resonate with me. I think he was at LAMDA, the London Academy, a teacher called Yat Malgrim, and he works on that a character is a cube with many different spheres. It's quite a mathematical process. And he incorporates some of Laban. Have you guys studied Laban? It's an extension of the action objective work, but you physicalize lines. There's various states about human beings. They're awake, they're remote, they're still, they're mobile. And so if you were talking about a mobile personality, this is how you form your cube, there's a series of verbs, I guess, that you can draw from that will reveal the character's energy. So a mobile person would flick, dab, punch, strike, slash. And so then you might say a line and you might decide to flick the person on the line. So you start off by saying, I flick you. If a line is incredibly long or the thought is incredibly complicated, you might move from a flick to a dab to a punch. And so then what you do is you take the words away and you simply do that, and then you add the words to it, and then you take the action away and you do that with your voice and your body. And so it often reveals a range of gestures. So it's quite a fascinating problem-solving process. But then you have to inhabit it, so remove the technicality in the end, but to technically begin to create a different energy production for a character. So it's quite fascinating.